Hello and welcome. I think that this is the first time I've ever actually done this, which is nothing at all. I always have such a set plan for every Monday. I always, it's not weeks in advance. It's usually an hour before. I'll sit down and meditate what you guys need to know. I'll have pages of notes to go through, and I don't have that today. I don't have a plan. I don't have a schedule. I don't know what's going to come out today because I'm just showing up. And I think it's so beautiful to have the ability to just show up. And that requires a lot of vulnerability. And to me, I've really been working on this concept of vulnerability a lot. What is vulnerability? Ultimately, what I've kind of concluded is that vulnerability is not knowing and trusting that you don't know. And my whole life, I've been wanting to know. I've been wanting to have it all. Not in a material sense, but in a knowledge sense. I've been on this path of gaining access to knowledge and wisdom. And the biggest downfall to that path is that I take myself away from the experience of that knowledge. And I've mentioned this before, but we truly need to have both. We need to have the knowledge and the experience in order to ascend and awaken. And recently I've been feeling a lot of emotion. Like yesterday, I did nothing at all, right? I've got this book launch, I've got so many things to do, and I did nothing. I sat in bed, burned some sage, lit some candles, got a diffuser going, and I watched horse movies all day. There's a new Black Beauty movie that came out, Secretariat. And I cried. I cried at all of them. And emotion is something that's very new to me. I think I don't feel comfortable with being in a space where I feel the emotion because it's a vulnerable place. I don't know how that emotion is going to come out. I don't know, what I look like when I feel emotions. And last night I was just feeling all this emotion come up. Half of it is this emotion of apathy. Half of it is this emotion of absolute blissful gratitude. And, bouncing back and forth. And it's so funny because in the middle of experiencing emotion that was all like heart chakra, solar plexus, Hira, my tall gray, came through, and I asked Hira, I said, Hira, you tell me, what is emotion to you, right? Because here you are, a parallel version of me, and I'm you in the future in this human body. What's emotion to you? And this is what he said. He's like, emotion is like an explosion going off in your body. And I laughed because it's exactly what it feels like. It's this explosion of energy. And if you're not willing to just experience the explosion, then how will you ever get to a point where you're able to actually experience the range of emotions? It's like holding yourself back from seeing a color on the color spectrum because you're scared of how that color is going to impact and affect you. So you hold yourself back from experiencing all of the colors in the color spectrum, if that makes sense. And this is definitely something that I've been working on. And something else that I've really observed recently in my own inner work is where I'm at when I dip into those low frequencies. And it's really funny. It doesn't happen often because I usually prevent myself from getting to a place where it's happening at all. And for me, when I dip into those low frequencies, it's usually one of two states, but one state for sure, especially. And the main state that I experience is apathy. It's like, I literally get this image like I'm walking in circles. I don't know what's up, I don't know what's down, I don't know what's right, I don't know what's wrong. It's like a mini existential crisis that I go through of absolutely nothing. Just as a human being, just being in this place where I've got nothing. I've got no semblance of what is reality. And the other kind of part that I go into when I lower my frequency, this has probably happened like a handful of times in my entire life, so it's not that big of a deal. But the other kind of experience that I have in those dips is this fear of like me losing my mind, which I think is what's happened in past lifetimes, you know? And it's interesting because some of the trolls, some of the haters will say, oh, you know, who's listening to this girl who's clearly schizophrenic or mental health issues or what have you, which is also interesting because I've never had any of those mental health issues in this life whatsoever, which is pretty amazing that I can go to the places that I go and not experience that. But I think it creeps in from past lifetimes of like, oh no, what if I'm just losing my mind? I have a fear of not being grounded enough, basically. But mostly it's this fear of not knowing or not having, or it's ultimately apathy. And so all of us have been hit recently with different aspects of experiences that we're uncomfortable with. And I think the point that I'm trying to make here is when you go into the lowest vibration that you could ever experience, which a lot of us have experienced in the past couple months. I mean, it's funny because 2020, no problem. Pandemic, no worries. Stay at home order? Okay, cool, I got that. Step into 2021 and all of a sudden the energy is different. It's changed. And I want to talk about that change just from my own personal experience. But before we get into the change, I want to talk about the dips. When you're at the highest possible expression of your frequency, you are expressing the highest aspects of your soul. That's beautiful. That's incredible. That's powerful. And it's easy for us to accept ourselves in the highest expression. I am so compassionate to others. I am so giving or loving or understanding or, open and free. It's so easy for us to accept those aspects of ourselves in the highest possible frequency. However, when we dip into low vibrations, it will show us the opposite of your highest frequency. So say, for example, my highest frequency is the ability to be balanced between worlds. And within my ability to be balanced between worlds, I get to relay information based on that balance. I get to step into being a teacher. And I'm not just teaching about what the 12th dimension, the 8th dimension, and beyond has to offer. I'm teaching about what being the ultimate grounded human has to offer as well. And that's my gift. My highest expression, my highest frequency, as long as I'm balanced within myself, I get to give you all a gift of that highest expression. And what I've really realized recently is that one of the biggest gifts that we're not fully aware of and that we resist all the time is the gift of the loop-de-loop. It's the gift of the dip. It's the gift of the lowest possible frequencies. It's the gift of the existential crisis. That's a gift. But it's only a gift if you can observe it and see it as a gift. So I want you all to think about right now in this moment, we've all been tested, we've all been challenged, we've all been dipping. What does your dip look like? What does your shadow side look like? What is that other part of yourself, that unknown, that scary side, that vulnerability? What is that? What is that to you? What does that look like? And how is that teaching you something? And likewise, how is that a superpower for you? Because I'll tell you that right now, if we can master that dip, if we can master those fears, if we can master that shadow side, that is true mastery in this reality. You're not fighting for the light anymore. You're fighting for balance at a greater level. Therefore, you are surrendering and accepting the balance within yourself at the highest vibrational frequencies and at the lowest vibrational frequencies. I just got chills. I've said this before. The Galactic Federation is not fighting for light. They are simply fighting for balance in this universe. And it's funny because the dark side believes that they are fighting for darkness. They are fighting for their own power. They're fighting for, they're fighting to win. And that's why they will always lose. Because the purest essence of source frequency in this universe is light and dark. No matter how many forces are on your side or the other side, there's no winning over the balance of both realities in both worlds. There's always going to be duality. The GFL is not for the light. They are for balance. You, as a Galactic Federation representative, as a starseed, maybe you're not even connected to the GFL. Maybe you're just here for your own volition, You're not fighting a war of light and dark. Or should I say, you're not fighting a war of light or dark. It's a battle to bring balance to this planet. Which means you have to appreciate the darkness. You have to appreciate the darkness. And there is no freaking way you will be able to appreciate the darkness out there in the world, out there in the universe, if you can't first recognize, observe, with non-reaction, and truly appreciate and love the darkness within yourself. Yeah. So what is that? What is that darkness within you? Deep dive into that. Observe that. Be aware of that. Love it. Love it. My dark side is apathy. My dark side is not knowing. My dark side is not wanting to do anything at all. Feeling like I'm not productive. Feeling like I'm not completing my mission if I'm just chilling and watching movies all day. That's my dark side. That is my greatest fear. And I have to just succumb to it. And we're all getting pushed into that darkest side. Maybe your dark side is the fear of not having enough resources or money. You're getting pushed into that right now. The second that you can accept the lack, the low vibrational expression, maybe the greed or the jealousy or whatever that shadow side is of you, is the second that you transmute it and you become a master of it, So that's really important. Now let's talk about 2021. Shall we? It's been weird. It's been really weird. I'll kind of just relay where I'm at, and maybe it resonates with you where you're at. But here's what it feels like. I mean, it's funny because, right at the beginning of the year, I think actually in December, I did a 2021 prediction video. And it all comes back around to this freaking word that came up, hinge. This is a hinge year. It's insane. It's a weird feeling. It feels like all of this old energy, personally, is just hitting me so hard. It feels like old memories that seem so insignificant are coming up out of nowhere. And if I'm not quiet enough to listen to the old energies during my day, old memories, old relationships, old partners will come into my dreams so vividly. And we'll just be having this super normal but very extremely vivid conversation in my dreams, to the point where I feel like I have to wake up and message like an ex-partner or an old best friend and say, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Like, what's up? I'm just completing things. I want to tell you I'm sorry for whatever happened in the past and for not being aware or taking accountability. I'm getting drawn to like looking at old photos and like going back to like listening to old recordings of myself, like back in 2010, 2011, of just like channelings and just weird things. And even my voice sounds so different back then. Old, just old art, that I've been going back into. It's been really bizarre. It's this recapping. And within all of that old energy, is this book that I'm gearing up for. And it's so scary. I feel like a video I could delete and take down if I didn't like, which I really never do. I don't really control the stuff that comes out. But I'm scared for this book. Like, I have this fear of this book. I feel like once it's out, there's no going back. There's no taking it back. There's no editing it. It's a control that's coming up, But this book is also 10 years of channeling and knowledge and information that I'm releasing. And recently in my videos, Q&A videos, Monday Live videos, there's this apathy that I have. Every day I'm channeling new content, new information. Every week I'm putting out new podcasts and it's just, there's endless amounts of information. But I'm feeling extremely apathetic in regard to what do I put out. And I've been really questioning why I feel that way. And I think that I'm stepping into this unknown of we're in between. The information that I channeled a week ago or a year ago just doesn't feel relevant anymore. And the information that is about to come through feels like humanity's not ready for it yet, so I'm not receiving it yet. So I'm in this weird place in between. I feel this buildup, like something's about to take place, but I don't know what it is. And I feel like I've seen this mirroring situation happen over and over and over again with all of you. That we all feel like we're getting prepared for something. That it's building up in us. Maybe you're starting a new business. Maybe you're finally taking that leap of faith and you're, starting a healing practice or a coaching practice or what have you. But there's also something that feels like it's holding us back. It's like, go, 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 go. But wait, revisit and circle back around and loop. It's like this feeling of being stuck in quicksand and wanting to get out, but having no idea where we're going. And that's really why I just needed to show up today and just relay this information and be vulnerable with all of you and let you know that I don't know and let you know that I'm okay with not knowing. And I feel emotional just saying that because it's digging something up in me that makes me feel uncomfortable. And I think that the only way we can move into crystalline frequency, the only way we can access these parts of ourself that we haven't been accessing, is to get to those uncomfortable places where we don't know, where we're okay with letting it go, where we're okay with just showing up without expectation. That's what we're all getting tested into. Where we're going collectively, it is an unknown. Yeah, maybe we've dabbled a little bit before in Lemuria and Atlantis. But your soul has no idea what is about to happen or how it's going to happen. I think we all know that change is inevitable. I mean, the biggest change that this planet has ever seen, and potentially this universe has ever seen, is about to take place. I feel like we're all holding our breath. We're all preparing for this moment to take place. And the best thing we can do, I feel, to prepare, and I feel this way because I've been listening a lot, is to do nothing at all. There is no preparation. The more you attempt to prepare, the more you're actually missing the point. Because the structure of crystalline frequency, the structure of this new world that we're stepping into, it has no structure. And if we try and take our old vibration and pull it in to the new dynamics, we're going to be messing it up. And we're going to be very confused. If you try and figure out where you're going or how it's going to take place, you're going to be pushed into the not knowing. You're going to be forced to surrender and be vulnerable. And I think we're all going to be forced into that place until we're okay being there. And then miracles happen. I think a lot of us experienced a lot of magic and a lot of miracles in the past year, of thinking about something and it happening, of making a decision on something and everything unraveling. That's magic. That is the balance between setting an intention and just allowing it to happen. Just like this video. I set the intention just to simply show up. And here I am. And it's happening. And I'm trusting. And I'd say that it's working out. And my ability to show up without expectation or attachment and have it really just work out allows me to have the trust to do this more often, so that anytime I feel apathetic or lack, I can sink into it. I can melt into that place. I don't have to control it. And I think as starseeds, we all get into this place of fear, because we've all tried so fucking hard in so many past lifetimes to help humanity in so many ways, and humanity's never been ready for us. Humanity has never been ready for us, and yet we have showed up every single time. And every single time, we get shit on, straight up. And now we're being forced to trust that showing up and not having a plan and not taking action and not doing all the time and not giving all we have to give is enough. It's enough. You've done enough. You're good. You are more than good. And all of these new little starseeds that don't have the damage, that don't have the karma, that don't have the trauma, that don't have a need or a program or a paradigm, they're just showing up in their pure essence. And they're taking the lead. And we can let go. Like, I feel like I'm in your group, if that makes sense. I'm not leading this new, younger generation movement. I'm not. I'm in a younger generation, leading the old generations to chill out, to stop trying, to stop doing, to stop giving, to actually just live our life for the first time ever. And I think that that's the hardest part. I think it really is the hardest part for us, is taking this early retirement, is not knowing how to be human and surrender to our human. And anytime I get confused is how do I show up? Is who do I be? Is who does humanity need me to be? And anytime I get stuck within that questioning, the answer is to be no one at all. To just be. To just show up. I think that our natural state of being as this starseed who's been plugging away, who's been battling it out, I think we're just so used to helping, to supporting, to holding space. We don't need to do that anymore, so then who are we? If we're not a light worker, if we're not a starseed, if we're not a warrior, if we're not a grid worker, if we're not... The biggest question that I get asked from all of you all the time is, what's my mission? And the biggest response I get from your spirit guides all the time is, it doesn't matter. Or you don't have one anymore. Because we're just learning to be that pure reflection. That is the ultimate version of showing up. And when you do that, there's no more resistance. There's no more attachment. There's no more ego. There's no more ego, attachment, polarity, resistance, triggering at all. And there's no work that you have to do to get there. Other than just be. And when you become that pure reflection, you see everything and everyone as that pure reflection. So there's also no resistance in your environment anymore either. So I guess as I'm here just showing up, not knowing why or how or what, I think I'm reflecting that all of you need to show up, not for your family, not for your friends, not for your children, not for your animals, not for your plants, not for your cosmic family, not for the world. You need to show up for yourself. You're a human. You're a magical hybrid being. You are a prophecy. You are a peace treaty. You are a reflection of all that is in the universe. You get to have that right here, right now. So what? What else do you want to experience here? If you let go of all of the obligations, of all of the needs, of all of the attachments, what's left? What's left is you, the real you. It's you interacting with every element of your reality. And that's so important. That is the whole purpose of why Source incarnated here to begin with. It's the reason why Source incarnated to begin with as a whole. And I think that's really powerful. And I think that there's so much action within the spiritual world. There's so much action needed within the human world that we rarely just be. And I think we all need to do that more often. We just need to show up. And I think that's it. I think that's everything. I think I'm stepping into something new, and so are all of you. And we're stuck between the old and the new. We have no idea what's about to come, but we need to surrender to it. And speaking of surrender, there are still tickets available to this month's Galactic Federation event, which is happening, what day is it? In a couple days, actually. It's happening on Friday, Thursday, one of those days. I think it's Thursday. No, Friday. Yeah. So check out the Galactic Federation event. I'm so excited to bring through our beautiful family members again, see where they're at, what they have to say, and maybe they can add value to us at this time. So check that out. Obviously, if you can't show up, the recording will be available. And there is also a group coaching session for all of my members as well. I'm really hoping you guys show up this time. We had a decent turnout, but not even close to all of the members. So hopefully you guys show up this time. And this month's coaching call on March 12th, I believe, is going to be all about your soul contracts. So if you show up, raise your hand, and I intuitively choose you for the coaching call, then we can get into your soul contracts. Why are you here? What did you sign up for? Let's release some of that anxiety that we're all feeling. And I think, even though it's kind of contradictory to this video, once we know who we are and why we're here, we can let that go and start just being in more of that open frequency. So I will see a lot of you on the 11th and the rest of you on the 12th, and hopefully a lot of you in both as well. Thank you so much, as always, for just showing up. I have an incredible new podcast episode all about karma and energetic looping that is being released tomorrow morning. So you can check that out on iTunes, Spotify, and all of the other awesome podcasting platforms. Bye for now. Have an amazing rest of your Monday. Have an even better rest of your week. I hope that you really just surrender and you just be in those moments and you are aware of your biggest dips and your biggest shadows, because that is what shows you the real you. And that is your greatest teacher. Bye for now.